Remember this song? You can still hear it on many playgrounds. Only now there's a frightening truth to it. Violence is a fact of life at many schools throughout the United States. Last year, 110,000 teachers were injured in attacks at schools. 280,000 students were assaulted every month. The cost of vandalism and arson has been estimated as high as $600 million every year. That's nearly enough to supply school books for the entire nation. I'm Ed Asner. This government study on schools reports that nearly 1 in 10 has a serious problem with violence. Many are in urban areas, but according to the report, the problem is spreading to the suburbs, too. Violence in schools affects every single one of us, whether or not we are a student, parent, or teacher. It takes its toll not only in victims, but also by spreading a climate of fear that can paralyze the learning process. When that goes, we all lose.
There ain't no school no more.
This is Wingate High School, Brooklyn, New York. Every hour, a force of security guards and teachers sweeps the halls to pick up trespassers, class cutters, and troublemakers. It is all part of the daily struggle to keep the school under control.
Let's reach the point where you have 20, 30 kids roaming the halls, banging on doors, breaking windows, but there's nothing I can do, because what can one teacher do against 20?
It doesn't bother me generally, but when I ask somebody to put out a cigarette in the hall and they start using this language and referring to my age and my sex and everything in the most degrading kind of way, and there's no backup.
It's really disrupting. They be in the hallway, cutting, banging on doors, calling your names out. It really be disturbing the ones who are here to learn.
Wingate's student body has for years been predominantly black. 2 years ago, it was considered a model school and was praised in the New York media. But last fall, 1,000 ninth graders were added to Wingate's student body. Designed to accommodate 2,600 students, its enrollment was pushed to 3,700. The result? Wingate's ranking in the number of serious incidents jumped from 28th to 3rd. The conditions at Wingate began to resemble a combat zone.
What's the problem up there in the girls' bathroom? This was a school where all of us were proud to teach. And suddenly, the mayor of New York and the Board of Education decided that children were not worth educating anymore, and they started...
The faculty and students at Wingate decided to fight back. On a cold February morning, teachers, parents, and students demonstrated against the conditions that threatened to destroy their school.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about our job becoming not possible, and simply keeping the peace is not our job. Our job is providing a tremendously necessary education. Now, let's stop kidding the public. Let's stop saying, are you getting your money's worth? No, you're not getting your money's worth, because for babysitters, we're overpaid. And for educators, we're not being given enough help to do the job. That's the case.
As a result of the demonstration, more security guards were assigned to Wingate, and the school board froze the number of new admissions for the rest of the year. Peace returned to Wingate, but it is a fragile peace. More budget cuts loom in September, and again, the possibility of overcrowding. As one hopeful teacher told us, if the number of students remains stable, we'll make it. All over America, young people are going to school armed with knives, clubs, machetes, and guns. This is just a sampling of weapons confiscated at schools in Los Angeles.
I've talked to a lot of kids. Oh, I brought my gun because I was afraid today. I bring knives. Why? I'm afraid. All you have to do is look at the number of people out there carrying big buck knives on their belts. People are scared to death. Well, kids are people too, and they're scared. They're afraid to go to school.
Gary Spencer is getting ready to go to school. He is one of 300 Los Angeles security agents who are not fully dressed without handcuffs, a baton, and a loaded .38. Spencer goes to work each day at Reseda High School, a predominantly white school in the suburbs of Los Angeles. Quiet suburban Reseda High has a reputation as a safe school. But when the district-wide crime reports were released, it was ranked number 2 in reported crimes.
These are the arrest reports for the criminal activity that has occurred at Reseda High School during the past 8 months. Here's an arrest report for burglary. This is for 211 robbery, possession of concealable firearms on campus, extortion.
I don't know what other schools do. It's perhaps because we're a little too honest that we're number 2 in reported incidents. We report everything. Even, I facetiously say sometime, if a kid spits on the sidewalk, we report it.
Threatening school officials, battery.
Whether or not Reseda deserves to be number 2, the stack of arrest reports makes it clear that crime in the schools is quite at home in the suburbs.
As far as we've been able to ascertain, the assailant entered this gate here, made his way across the campus, and simply walked down the hall looking for a point of opportunity and found it with a lady sitting in a room with an open door.
On March 28, 1979, a 20-year-old parolee walked onto the campus during the 6th period at Los Angeles High School. He was armed and looking for a victim. He found teacher Miriam Schneider alone in her classroom. He pulled a gun and demanded her purse.
He then asked me to take off my clothes, and I gave him all kinds of excuses why he didn't need me and why taking off my clothes would not help him. But he indicated that I should take them off. I then got up and left everything from the waist up on the desk and proceeded to where he indicated on a floor at a spot about right here. He told me to lie down, and he proceeded to get on top of me, did all the foreplay he needed to get himself aroused, and at one point told me to put my arms around him. At that moment, I saw that his gun was lying unattended on the floor, and I made a move to grab it. He, at the same moment, made a move to grab it, grabbed it by the handle, got up, stood about here, and took point-blank aim and shot me.
The assailant's bullet struck Miriam in the abdomen, but luckily passed through her without striking any vital organs. She was taken to the hospital where she spent a month recuperating.
I had nightmares about someone coming into my room in the hospital with nobody being around to see what happened. I can never picture a face, but I always saw someone coming in and finishing me off with a gun and going bang, bang, bang like in a gangster movie.
Miriam has been transferred to a new school, but the effects of the attack have followed her.
I became very depressed, I became very nervous, very anxious. When I first went back to teaching after the shooting, I was still scared, really scared. And I will always stay that way, I think.
Miriam's life was not the only one affected by the attack. Other teachers felt the shock as well.
My immediate reaction was one of fear. I just wanted to get out of the building. I kept thinking about my kids. I just wanted to get home.
The day Miriam was shot, Adrienne Manpearl cradled her in her arms while they waited for help. She's not been back to L.A. High since. The shooting was the last in a series of incidents and frustrations that have left her burned out.
I didn't want to see the school. I didn't want to have anything to do with the school. I perceived that what happened to Miriam would continue to happen, not just to a teacher, but to students also. I didn't see any way that the district or administrators could make it better or could make it go away. I couldn't go back, and I won't go back.
Adrienne taught at L.A. High for 10 years. Though she has not been back in a year and a half, in her heart, she is still a teacher.
I love teaching, and I miss the kids. I miss the feeling of being in my classroom, and all the good parts. I did it for 10 years, and I love the feeling of being with the students and growing with them. We learned a lot from each other, and I miss that. That's the only part that I miss.
Several changes have been made to improve the security at L.A. High. Teachers had already been asked to work in locked classrooms. Now peepholes have been cut in the doors. A full-time security agent was added, as well as aides to monitor the entrances. New locks were purchased and more radio equipment. But the improvements were not enough to eliminate the climate of fear that left teachers feeling threatened.
How come? I watch students' eyes, watch their behavior. I'm cautious about continuing a conversation with a student who appears not absolutely normal. So I'm very cautious so that I can feel comfortable. And of course, as soon as I can leave, I always leave. I never hang around.
You don't stay after school?
No, never.
Bob Zampier has been expelled from school 11 times. He admits to maintaining a tough guy image, but he is now attending college and has some insights into why teachers get attacked.
A lot of the times you get forced into it by your peers or by the teachers. Teachers will try and put a show of force on you. And then everybody in class says, wow, look at the teacher getting bad. So you have to get even badder with this certain teacher just to save face. When the teacher got on me, it was a math teacher there. He bagged on me one day, told me, you know, I'm dumb, illiterate. So he turned his head and I hit him in the head with a book. We used to scare a lot of teachers, you know, especially white teachers. They come to school scared, especially in a black school. They're scared from Jump Street. I mean, they come in, you know, and you walk, for day one, you can walk in class. Everybody's noisy and the teacher, excuse me, could you kindly be quiet? You know, nobody shuts up. I shut up, you know. From that moment on, once you got that teacher scared, it's over with, you know. Forget class, bring your friends in, sit back, don't have to do nothing, come in 10 minutes late, cuss her out, him out. Because, you know, you can feel when they're scared. Once you got them scared, they're scared forever.
I think that there are some black youngsters who have some anti-white feelings. On the other hand, sometimes it serves as an excuse for the failures that they feel in the school system. If they can't read, if they can't learn anything, they have to point the finger somewhere, and if you have white teachers there, they'll point the finger at white teachers.
One time I got into a fight with a teacher, and I threw a chair at her, and I knew it was wrong, but a lot of times she'd tell me to do something, or a certain teacher would tell me to do something, and I would sit back there and I didn't know how to do it. And when I went to go ask her how to do it, she would wouldn't explain it to me. Then I would end up just sitting there, doing nothing. And I end up failing, you know, and I didn't want to fail.
What the teacher was doing was further damaging an already damaged self-esteem, which is very provocative in a teenager. And then the teenager feels like striking out and striking back and feels that that person does not have an interest in them, and then they turn to retaliation.
You know, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I just picked up a chair and threw it at her. And that was the end of that.
Violence is just one of the symptoms indicating that public education in the United States is in jeopardy. Other signs suggest that the situation is critical. Nationally, 1 in 10 high school students drops out before graduating. At some urban schools, the rate is almost 1 out of 2. According to the National Education Association, 40% of our teachers currently wish that they could drop out by changing careers. The statistics make one thing clear. Many teachers and students are fed up with school.
When I first began to teach, it was real teaching. It was teaching high school kids who were reading at the grade level they should have been reading, and now it's custodial care in elementary school for the most part.
How well did you read? Did you read at the same level as the other kids in the class?
No, I've never been very good at reading.
And if you can't read, you can't learn, and there's going to be disruption. And there'll be disruption in any organization where the people believe that what they're there for, they can't do.
And I wish I could sometimes. I wish I could read like everybody else and do things in school like everybody else, you know. I wish my life could have been different.
Right now, I'd rather be doing something else as a career. It's not teaching anymore.
The problem of violence is not being ignored. All over the country, school officials are searching for answers. Many types of programs have been started, from teacher training courses to elaborate security hardware. In a few places, the programs are working. Prince George's County, Maryland. This is one of the few areas where violence in schools is decreasing. Last year, assaults in schools were reduced by 10%, and assaults on teachers dropped 25%.
I don't think that because there's crime in the street that we have to then accept it in the schools. I think the chance of it coming into the schools are very great. But I think that we do not have to accept it.
We just spotted 2 intruders on the brown tram in the Sulu parking lot. Check it out.
Every incident, no matter how minor, if it is reported to us, is investigated. Therefore, little incidents remain little.
Well, you trespassed on school property.
The reputation is out that our schools are not the place to come in and pull any kind of shenanigans.
Ed Spindler is in charge of security at High Point High School. This year, he made over 40 arrests. But he is charged with more than law enforcement. Part of his job, as set by the policy of the school district, is to establish a rapport with the students.
I enjoy working with kids. I have good rapport with all the kids here in the school. I feel that the kids are looking for some kind of regulations and rules and guidelines to go by. If we say you're going to get suspended, you get suspended. If we say you're going to get charged, you get charged. And we don't make exceptions.
The circuit court for Prince George's County is now in session.
Prince George's County schools have received help from an unexpected source, the juvenile courts.
I see the first case on our docket today.
Judge Vincent Familla and 3 other juvenile judges have abandoned a policy of leniency in favor of harsher sentences for juvenile lawbreakers. Once a week, Familla visits schools to spread the word. Committing a crime on campus is a no-win proposition.
There's one way you can absolutely guarantee you're going to a state institution. You or anybody else who commits an offense in this school or any other school in this county is going to a state school. Period. They're going to a state institution. That's it!
In 1974, a code of student conduct was established to regulate all the schools in Prince George's County. Administrators, teachers, parents, and students had a voice in setting the rules. Each year, a copy of the code is issued to every student and his parents. Junior high school students who are suspended in Prince George's County may end up here, in a supervised discipline center. For most, this is a fate much worse than suspension.
All the people in the school, they just hate this place. They wouldn't want to be here.
Like it's a jail. You can't see nobody. It's stupid because you can't look and turn around, can't talk.
And I think they give you too much work.
Most Prince George's County students would rather be home watching television than stuck here. But the choice is not up to them. It's up to their parents. And 95% of the parents pick the supervised discipline center over suspension.
Mentor, what about you and Valerie? You know, you're just going to tell her, shut up and get put out of class?
Hey, but if I don't, I can't hear.
How are you going to get what you want then?
At some junior high schools, troublesome students spend 1 or 2 periods a day learning how to keep conflict from escalating into combat. This is an activity room, and the goal here is to teach youngsters self-discipline and to show them how their behavior may provoke a teacher.
Calling me names running down the hallways too, and I get mad.
You've got to find a way.
The goal is to have one person, the activity room teacher, work intensively with one student, talking about acceptable and unacceptable behavior and how that student can cope in a regular classroom setting, still be himself, but how to cope and how to show behavior that is more acceptable in a classroom so that that student can be maintained there and flourish in a classroom setting.
In an activity room, students learn how to avoid provoking a teacher. These teachers are learning how not to provoke students.
Lined up and took them home to my parents and I'd get a good grade on this. Let's go over what it is you have.
At workshops organized by the school board, they practice handling the type of confrontation that in the classroom might lead to violence.
You had it for me ever since I have come into this school.
Yeah, I think teachers get hurt, but primarily, in many cases, they bring them on themselves by the way they do or do not respond to students in ongoing situations. And I think there are teachers that really do ask for and get conflict from youngsters by the way that they do behave.
Keeping violence out of schools is toughest in the inner city, especially in areas with high crime and high unemployment. But it can be done. Manual Arts High School used to be one of the most violent in Los Angeles. Yet now it has half as many assaults as other high schools in the area. The students are the same. The difference is the principal, Dr. David Bowick.
You did a good job yesterday. Very proud of you.
Now, if you missed it by 1 point, you take the course, you should pass it.
Yeah.
Okay, will you come to summer school?
Yes, I will.
Okay, then I'll let you participate in graduation.
Oh, you will?
In 3 years, Bowick has set a positive tone, which is filtered down to the students and faculty.
There's a fantastic school spirit here. Yesterday, I went to the play rehearsal, and I looked at those kids up there doing their thing, and that is what it's all about. Dr. Bowick channels it that way. He constantly rallies around the idea, okay, let's unite manual, let's have school spirit. Let's do this as a group of manual arts students.
This is going to go here, see, and this is going to go here. Okay? All right?
All right.
Everybody see what's happening?
I like to be on the campus. I like to be involved. I like to stick my head in classrooms to find out what's going on. How can I be of more assistance to teachers if that's needed?
I remember you.
To be successful. We need to provide successful experiences for them all day long in every classroom.
That correct? Okay.
These kids learn because of us and because of the sacrifices and the extra responsibilities that we accept.
You're having trouble letting go. Right.
Crucial to the success of any school is the involvement of parents.
Right if they leave home. The other, she's still, but you're overprotecting them.
Bowick has organized weekly sessions for parents to come on campus for consultations about their kids.
Eventually.
Key thing, I think, is that the principal should be visible, see, and he is visible. He should have some rapport with the students. Dr. Bowick has that. When something's done well, he praises them. If it's not done well, he does whatever he's supposed to do, and the students respect him.
Good morning, sir. How you doing? What is that you have?
Radio.
And where are you going with it?
To the locker.
To your locker. Now, I've never seen you with a radio before. Now, are you going to your locker?
Yeah.
Can I take your word for it?
Yeah, you
Like, may I ask you to do something else for me?
What that?
Don't bring that radio on campus anymore.
Okay.
If you do, may I take it?
Yes, you may.
And you won't give me a hard time?
No hard time.
Attaboy. Come on, shake my hand so you can have a good day.
All right.
All right? Thank you, friend. Turkey? If we can say to kids, hey, the guy at the top likes you, it gives me a chance to relate to them. It gives them a chance to say, hey, I can trust this guy. If I can trust him, maybe I can trust my teacher. And it builds a feeling of solidarity among the staff and the students in terms of their relationships.
Manual Arts is not a school without problems. It has yet to achieve major victories in the war against low reading levels and high truancy and dropout
Morning,
rates.
Mr. Taylor.
But the campus is calm, and it has a positive energy and spirit. The lesson of Manual Arts is that even the most battle-scarred school can be turned around if it has leadership that is firm, consistent, and caring. "41 million students attend public school in the United States. In our look at violence, we must be mindful that only a small percentage are involved in crime on campus. Even in the most war-torn school, we found many students and teachers working well together.
Do you have anything else?
To validate.
Good, that's a good one.
A belief, a common belief. It's good. I mean, I like this school.
None of the people start trouble with anybody. I mean, they get along really good. It's a nice place to be. I like the school.
These are the students you never hear about. The ones who go on to graduate, enter college, or get jobs, stay off welfare and out of prisons. They are the ones for whom our schools must be preserved and strengthened. Every school in the United States should have a security system to keep intruders off campus. A system that works. Every school should have a code of conduct that is understood by all the students and their parents. Every school should have a principal who enforces the rules firmly, fairly, and consistently, while at the same time setting a positive tone. And no school should be overcrowded, for overcrowding is frequently the source of violence or disruptive behavior. As society becomes more violent, schools become more violent. We heard that at nearly every school we visited. While it may be true, it doesn't mean we have to accept it.